Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Let's jump right into it. We have a lot of things happening with XRP and the bank coins. This article is titled David Schwartz Update Triggers Massive Bullish Signals Amid XRP Whale Buying Spree. Who are these whales that's buying all this XRP? We'll get back to that in a moment. The XRP community is on fire, is what the article says, after Ripple's chief technology officer, David Schwartz, announced a major new role that could mark a turning point for XRP's market trajectory. In a post on X, Schwartz revealed that he will serve as strategic advisor to Evernorth, a newly formed investment vehicle, we covered that before, dedicated to expanding XRP's reach across DeFi and capital markets. They know XRP is the key. They want to profit off of it, maximize it. That's what this is all about. Not to mention, I also believe, I beg your pardon, I also still believe firmly that a lot of these companies are accumulating XRP treasuries to tap into liquidity from an aspect that most people are not seeing. Not the typical way that liquidity is used on the XRPL, but they can utilize that independently any way that they want just by liquidating massive amounts of XRP. So you look at the situation with the whole bailout thing, which bailouts and bail-ins, right? They still have those little clauses in the contracts for some of the banks where they can take your capital. You sign on that dotted line, they can take your capital. If there's a bank run or something like that, they need that value. Bail-ins, we covered that years ago as well, right? So instead of doing that, they're giving themselves multiple ways to possibly survive what is to come. Looks like they're going to have major problems in the banks at some point in the next few years. Who knows when that's going to occur? So you have the bail-ins as a possibility. You have the little bit of capital that FDIC works with, just US wise, right? Not globally, obviously. Globally, they have their different, facilities that handle these things. And then you're going to have this new aspect of crypto liquidity. XRP is the prime one there. And I think that's what they're setting up for. But let's continue on here. So this goes right into that. Through things like this, Ripple will maintain its spot at the top of XRP, the XRP pyramid, for lack of a better word, and they need to, because the banks are creeping in. Let me not just say the banks; they're in on it as well, in my humble opinion. Let me just say large financial institutions, they're creeping in on XRP. Make of that what you will. So now, it says it continues, the company helmed by former Ripple executive Ashish Birla aims to become the largest publicly traded XRP treasury on the NASDAQ under the ticker XRPN. Evernorth recently confirmed its plans to go public through a business combination with Armada Acquisition Corporation 2, a deal expected to raise more than $1 billion in gross proceeds. The move will give Evernorth both regulatory credibility and significant financial firepower to accumulate XRP and develop liquidity, lending, and yield infrastructure. Schwartz's involvement points to Ripple's deepening ties to Evernorth's strategy. Of course, that's what I'm saying. And this is why connections are important. The connections for the collection. Just as you see, they say, well, this individual is a former Ripple, whatever. But then David Schwartz is creeping in there, right? Ripple still has ties. There's all of these. You don't ever lose those connections unless something bad happened. Those remain. So if those connections remain when it comes to DLT companies, imagine how much more those connections remain from former government officials, workers, and bankers that Ripple has hired that were in those industries, the legacy financial system, for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. They bring their connections as well. People are not putting together all these connections. It's major. Let's keep going. It says analysts have widely interpreted his announcement as a sign that Ripple is positioning XRP for mainstream capital market integration. Of course. Absolutely. All right. But I'm glad that mainstream, the majority, not mainstream. How could I say this? Mainstream people. I'll just say mainstream people. The mainstream is starting to catch up on this idea. We've known this for a long time. This is potentially similar to how MicroStrategy amplified Bitcoin's exposure in traditional finance. So let's continue. It says market momentum appears to reflect that optimism. Data from Sentiment shows XRP climbed back above $2.50. Well, they reported, I think it was right before this, massive amounts of XRP buying. Massive. Which, you know what? Let's go to that article. I have the article, actually. Hope you're all doing well out there. I appreciate every single one of you for being here. And if you have the chance, take those powerful hands of yours, hit that like button. I would appreciate that. You know I do. So now, this article is titled, this is a good segue, XRP whales pile $560 million into Ripple-linked crypto despite ETF approval freeze. Who's doing that? Who's just, and I said this, the bringing down of those prices, etc., is all rigged. Who is it who are these whales? Because sometimes they use this phrase and they've been using it for your XRP whales. They're painting with this broad brush. And some people will still take it to be the XRP whales from before. Retail whales, maybe it's not. Let's keep going. Let's read this little tidbit here. I'm just asking questions. Deep-pocketed investors, that's it? That's what you have? You don't have any more specificity. Who are they? No one knows? We're just left to assume. Okay. Right. Well, who benefits the most from grabbing up tons of XRP? Who is it made for? You think this is regular people? This is regular retail people. You think that? Well, they're retail whales. You think this is retail whales? I will humbly disagree. It's the bank's time. It's the large financial institutions' time. They're buying by proxy, secretly. It's the smart way to go about this. You don't, it's in that way, you don't make the people too bullish, but you get what you need little by little. Before everything really pops off, you get it little by little. $2.60 is cheap. In my humble opinion, not financial advice. Let's keep going. Deep-pocketed investors are scooping up XRP, you don't say, and increasing their exposure to the Ripple-linked cryptocurrency. Whales accumulated almost $560 million in XRP over the past week. Data from Sentiment shows their investments come in lockstep with the Securities and Exchange Commission's lapsed deadlines for 3 XRP ETF filings during the period. Bear with me. I'm just scrolling down past a massive ad. Get your money. I'm not mad at that at all. Those missed deadlines occurred amid an ongoing U.S. government shutdown, now in its 27th day. But rather than dampen enthusiasm, XRP investors and analysts are betting that once Washington reopens, the floodgates for ETF approvals will open as well. We shall see. It says, quote, I expect ETFs for most tokens to ultimately be approved by the SEC, so long as the new generic listing standards are compiled with, unquote. This is coming from Andrew Jacobson, general counsel at Holiday, the crypto payments platform. Okay. It says, quote, here's another quote. Fall is often the hottest season for ETFs. And once the government is back up and running, things will move very fast, unquote. We shall see. We will see. These individuals are very unpredictable. That's what I grasp from watching them for decades. Signs of volatility. Despite SEC approvals being stuck in limbo, XRP's market is flashing signs of my apologies. I said volatility. Actually, this section is titled Signs of Vitality. My apologies. Despite SEC approvals being stuck in limbo, XRP's market is flashing signs of vitality, with ETF products attracting significant investments. All right, so everything's looking good. The setup is looking very, very good. Apart from the surge in ETF inflows, XRP has also become a magnet for digital asset treasuries. Yes. Now, that's something I would love to be elaborated more upon. I feel like I've been talking about this consistently because The question is, why? What are they doing with that? Not everyone. So many people were saying in the past that that companies would not be holding XRP. No one's going to hold XRP. And correct me if I'm wrong. Treasuries are literally the opposite of that. They're holding XRP, as I anticipated that there was a high possibility that they would do such. But why? Just to profit outright on it? Is that it? Is that all? I don't think so. They'll do that as well. But there's a liquidity aspect to this if you understand what's going on in the banking industry. And when I say banking industry, it's the banks and the non-banking financial institutions that they're connected to. That's what I've been talking about the last 3-4 videos. Now, let's keep going. So it says at least 10 companies, including Vivo Power and Weebis, are currently building XRP treasuries based on data collected by DL News. Well, you can do a general search on Google and pull up all that information from a variety of sources. Variety of sources reporting on this. Evernorth, a Ripple-backed digital asset treasury company, holds the most XRP on its balance sheet, as they should, in my humble opinion, having acquired $947 million worth of the cryptocurrency. What is going on, folks? You know what I've been saying. I want to know what you're saying, what your thoughts are. What's going on? All right. Things are kicking into high gear, but there's deeper reasonings beyond the facile, beyond the superficial, as to why they're moving at such a high pace right now. All right. So now let's go here. I had another article here, Ripple. Oh, this is about Ripple in, the universities, etc. But I think I'm going to skip that one here. I want to let's get to this Bitcoin news early in the video today. Okay. And then maybe we'll circle back around. I have 2 more XRP articles and I have some other good stuff here. And I have a members only video that I'm going to put together that is very, very good. You want to see that one for sure. In my humble opinion. This article is titled, Bitcoin holds near $113,000 ahead of FOMC as traders await Powell's guidance. Bitcoin is holding around $113,000 as global markets turn their focus to Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell's policy guidance later today. An event that some analysts say could shape the next move for risk assets. According to the block's price page, BTC traded nearly flat following days of range-bound price action below $115,000. The broader crypto market has also cooled ahead of the Federal Open Market Committee meeting, with minor downturns across majors. Ethereum has hovered near $4,000, Solana around $195, looking amazing in my humble opinion. It's not $15, $16. I love that. All right, and BNB at $1,115, leaving total crypto market capitalization near $3.9 trillion. Quote, Bitcoin holds the 113,000 support band as the market braces for today's FOMC meeting. We'll see. I was seeing certain things. Oh, man, Jerome Powell is a funny individual. Really, really is. And I love it that everyone thinks they know what this individual is going to do. And he'll come out just neutral, lukewarm, or he'll say something negative, So I think, let me not speculate. Let's just get the facts. Let's go here. Fed Jerome Powell comments today. Let's put that into Google. Let's see what comes up. All right. Fed meeting recap. Powell says another rate cut in December is not a so I told you, I knew it is not a foregone conclusion. This man, so many I just saw so many article writers. They were very positive. Oh, it's going to be another rate cut. And I just shake my head and say to myself, I mean, we've been covering Jerome Powell on this channel probably for 3 years, maybe 3 or 4 now. I'm not saying that's how long I've been doing videos on the channel. That's how long we've been covering this man's comments. And he's very unpredictable. When you think he's going to go left, he goes right. So that's interesting. The Federal Reserve policymakers announced a 0.25 percentage point or 25 basis point cut to its overnight lending rate on Wednesday, bringing its benchmark rate to a targeted range of between 3.75% and 4%. Not sure why my font It did another update, and once more, for some reason, when this Chrome, I'm using Chrome right now. I have a couple of browsers that I use. I just bounce back and forth. I like diversity, but I'm using Chrome right now. When Chrome updates, it brings my font back to 100 zoom. Why? Let me go back. I'm going to put it back at 125. Somebody's like, whoa, Mick, that's big. Maybe your eyes are a little bit sharper than my own. I don't know. Anyway, while the post-meeting statement offered few clues about what direction the Federal Open Market Committee would take at its December meeting, Chairman Jerome Powell was very clear at his news conference that further reductions were, quote, not a foregone conclusion. Why did you? I mean, I don't understand. Why do you need to say that? That's why I laughed. Why do you need to say that? You could say nothing. Okay, so you did this here. There's what it said. Federal Reserve policymakers announced a 0.25 percentage point or 25 basis point cut to its overnight lending rate on Wednesday. Okay, fine. Leave it at that. But when you say something that's not a foregone, it sounds negative. It's almost market manipulation. Relax. You did what you needed to do, what you felt you needed to do. Move on from there. That's why I don't like that extra verbiage. Like, you want to be a superstar, sir? We're not here to be superstars. We're here to provide information to the people. That's it. And I just feel like that's what it is. He loves to be in front of the camera. He loves to speak to the media. And so there's this excessive verbiage that when he speaks, it's like he doesn't grasp. Maybe he does. He just doesn't care. I don't know. But there's this excessive verbiage talking where it moves the markets this way or that. Knowing how sensitive these markets are. Easily manipulated by the words of these people. Although I feel like they shouldn't be. They are. People just, I don't know. They're easily moved by this type of stuff. Apparently. All right. So that's what they said there. We went there. We got the facts. So there you go. Let's go back to the Bitcoin article now. So, quote, the big day is here, unquote, said Nick Puckrin, co-founder of the Coin Bureau. Quote, it's still worth getting out the popcorn for Powell's press conference because it's the rhetoric and forward guidance investors will be waiting for with bated breath. Exactly what I was just saying. So when he says things like, oh, it's not a four, don't. When it's time to act, simply act. Puckrin called the moment a, quote, tightrope act, unquote, between politics and data, while the long-term investment case for Bitcoin remains intact. Very much so. All the catalysts for Bitcoin remain very strong, in my humble opinion, getting stronger. We just had France say they're planning on going heavy into Bitcoin. I guess there's a party in France. I'm not sure how that works over there. I'm not from France. I don't know their politics, but they have, I guess, a party or segment over there that's pushing heavily within the government to acquire a massive amount of Bitcoin. They're not the first, of course, and they most certainly won't be the last. And thus, I like to say that, thus, I use that in my regular life. And thus, Bitcoin remains super bullish. Some people don't like that. I've encountered that a lot in my life. The way that I speak in a multitude of different ways. I can speak casual. I can speak street. I can speak. I love archaic words. You should know that by now. I love archaic, rare, formal words. I like that challenge. I like to be challenged. If you don't know that by now, I do. But a lot of people, they don't like that. Oh, Mick, why are you using this word? Because I choose to. Because I'm different. Because I'm not afraid to be myself. That's why. And if you choose to be otherwise, that's fine. I'm not coming against you for the way that you live or the way that you speak. Then why are you on me about what I'm doing? I'm going to continue as you see. So that's why sometimes I just address that and just say, I use that. I like these words. Anyway, let's continue on. So now, at least you know me. You're learning a little bit about me. By the time I'm gone, you'll say, well, I knew a little bit about Mick. And you did. I'm not a stranger to you. You know a good amount about me. And about the most inner part of my mind. That's the most intimate knowing that anyone can ever do. So, yeah, I do that because I appreciate you. or else I wouldn't let you in. All right, so now anyway, let's continue on here. Quote, okay, while the long-term investment case for Bitcoin remains intact, near-term leverage is risky. Exchange volumes have collapsed and price action hints at a potential double top. Unquote. The block's data dashboard shows open interest in options near October peaks, leaving markets vulnerable to gamma-linked volatility if Powell surprises, BRN's Misir says. Moreover, crypto sentiment seems tethered to the broader risk complex shaped by cooling U.S. labor data and renewed U.S.-China trade talks. All right, so we'll leave that one there. And let's go here. I have so many articles today. I'm trying to keep up with my time as well. It was a busy day today, and I want to get this members-only video done because there's something potent, and I like to get it done while the fire is inside of me, inside my heart and my mind. Oh, I wanted to cover this. Here we go. Listen to this. U.S. dollar stable coins to raise challenges for global monetary policy, India chief economic advisor says. I've been talking about this, folks. These U.S. dollar stable coins, because of this perspective, raise challenges for global monetary policy. You've heard, so you're hearing India say this, all right? You also heard and read what Europe said about this. So you have a BRICS nation member, India, saying this. You have Europe, an ally, a Western ally to the U.S., saying, whoa, 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 slow down on those stable coins. You've heard what the BIS said, the Bank for International Settlement, said. You heard what the UK, the Bank of England, said. Folks, these U.S. dollar stable coins, they're a Trojan horse. And it's not that it's any stable coin. It's just that the U.S. dollar, since it's out at the forefront and visible and the dollar is popular, that's the one they're going to take aim at and use as an example. That's why they're doing that. But they're a Trojan horse. These are going to be limited. They can't do what people think they're going to do. They're no threat to any bank coin, not whatsoever. Hence why everybody's going hard at collecting bank coins, XRP, etc., XRP, whatever. Because they need everything. They need a neutral platform, number one. They need the bridge currency aspect. That's going to be major. Don't let anyone tell you different. Do your own research so you can see with your own eyes. How do they operate without a bridge currency? There's increased fragmentation in the world. You need a neutral platform because none of the sides are going to use the others' platforms because they'll get cut off. They will be manipulated, as we've seen through the SWIFT system and other systems. So that's not going to happen. They're not going to use each other's stable coins. They don't want that dominance coming into their territory. You need bridge currencies on a neutral platform where your stable coins, your fiat currency representation feeds into that neutral platform, that bridge currency, and rides the rails. And when it reaches the other side, it's fairly converted into that other currency. There's no way around it, one way or the other. And then all that's left is to ask oneself what bridge currencies are the best of the best and at the forefront. You answer that question and you know which ones are going to absorb a ton of value and make a lot of money for someone somewhere. And I think we know the answers by now, a few of them. There may be others, but we know a few of them. We know the prime ones. And then liquidity is a completely different aspect that's very potent. And the bank coins meet both of those criteria: liquidity, bridge currency. They provide both. Hence, once more, why they're collecting a ton of bank coins. You just saw it with XRP. Why? Who was that? $560 million. Was that you? Maybe it was. Somebody out there's like, yeah, it was me, Big. Were you the bulk of that? There's major money. They've been doing this all year, these major accumulations. Then they shake up the markets. Then they accumulate some more. Then they shake up the markets again once more. Then they accumulate some more. You see the pattern? Rinse and repeat. You see the pattern? And it's different than before because we know from professional companies like Sentiment, et cetera, that these legacy whales, whether it's Bitcoin or XRP, been selling. So there's newcomers. Who are these? Who are these phantoms? Could they not be? Is it not possible there are some of the similar companies to the ones that are openly doing treasuries? There's always a reverse side to every shield. There's that which is done openly and that which is done secretly or covertly hidden, whichever you prefer. They do it in both ways. All right, so let's read this little tidbit here about this, what they're saying about stablecoins. This is going to affect everything. The rising popularity of US dollar stablecoins will be an important phenomenon next year and could raise challenges for monetary policy globally. India's chief economic advisor V. Anantha, my apologies, Nageswaran said on Wednesday, quote, the presence of a dollar stablecoin will bring with its own challenges. Why did they write it like that? The presence of a dollar stablecoin will bring with it its own challenges for monetary policy, monetary transmission, and for seigniorage benefits of any country, unquote, Nageswaran said at an event in Mumbai. Seigniorage refers to the difference between the face value of money and the cost of producing and distributing it. I believe we went over that recently in a video. The presence of a widely used instant domestic payment system like the United Payments Interface, UPI, reduces the need for stablecoins in India as compared to advanced economies like those in the European Union, Nageswaran said. Yeah, but here's another interesting thing about India. A couple of bank coins are deep in India. Isn't Stellar deep in India? And also Algorand is deep in India. Go do a Google search on that. Stablecoins will become, so that's just something interesting I just sprinkled in there. U.S. dollar stablecoins have gained popularity globally on the back of friendly regulations in the U.S., and the global market capitalization of such tokens that are pegged to the U.S. dollar has climbed to over $300 billion. India, for its part, is leaning towards not creating legislation to regulate cryptocurrencies in the country. What? Wait a minute. I could have sworn we heard, maybe not legislation, we saw enforcement years ago. I don't know, folks. That's interesting to me. Maybe I don't. If I see a little bit more coming out of India, a little bit more of this type of dialogue, then I'll delve into that and search the depths of this here, because I could have I know what they did when it came to bank coins in testing certain systems and testing CBDCs. They literally forced some of the people in certain regions in India to use CBDC. Literally, we covered it. I remember that. But this here with the stable coins, I may have to delve into a little bit deeper. All right, so let's so now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. I was going to do another article or two, but I want to get to this members only video. It's very important. So until next time, let's get to the money.